Today, we will have the wrap-up of the case with the final rulings. Then, we will go on to find out what happened to the defendants after their case was overturned by the Supreme Court. Do you think the verdict that the Supreme Court handed down was just and fair? Would you have ruled in a different direction? Let us know in the comment section below. All aboard the Kentucky Tennessee Living Time Machine. Please fasten your seatbelts and keep your arms and legs inside of the vehicle at all times. But to get going, we need your help. We still need to fire up that time machine to transport us. Please help us by clicking on the like, subscribe, and bell notification buttons down below. Not only does this fire up the time machine for our flight back in time, but it convinces the YouTube algorithm that we need a bigger vehicle to reach more people who love history as much as you do. Now, back to our story. The rulings as handed down by Tennessee Supreme Court Justice William B. Turley. The Supreme Court Justice William B. Turley wrote that it was the ruling of the court that the case should be overturned and a new trial granted. This ruling stood on several factors. 1. That the juror, William Sheldon, had indeed made sure to get himself onto the jury with a preconceived notion that the defendants were guilty of the crime and should receive the death penalty as prescribed by the law at the time. 2. That Swallows and Belayu had told the truth in their affidavits, and that the sanctity of the trial was now in question. For that reason, a new trial should be ordered. 3. That the malice of the case was not proven against Troxdale, Upton, and Stevens. That none of the three defendants had a reason to murder the O'Neill family in the manner that they did. Neither did they have a reason to burn down the family home. That it was simply a matter of their proximity to the location of the crime that the jury found them guilty. 4. That the testimony of Christina Hensley should never have been allowed in the court record. Or, if it had been, then the jury instructions should have been made more clear as to how the jury should regard her testimony. The dissent ruling as handed down by Tennessee Supreme Court Justice J. Nathan Green. The Supreme Court Justice J. Nathan Green also delivered the following opinion about the case from the Tennessee reports. Quote, in the opinion of my brother Turley, in this case, a doubt seems to be indicated whether the defendant Patsy Troxdale is guilty of the murder charged in the indictment. The expression of that doubt constrains me to say that I do not concur in the expressions contained in the preliminary observations of the opinion. Upon the facts in this record, I should feel no disposition to disturb the verdict as to the defendant Troxdale, but I concur in awarding a new trial upon the ground that Sheldon was not an impartial juror. I also think that the judge was not sufficiently clear and explicit in stating the law as to what would be a corroboration of Christina Hensley's evidence. Therefore, I think there should be a new trial. Unquote. So, while Green did not completely agree with the Turley decision upon the case, he also felt that the case should be overturned and a new trial should take place. His opinion was solely based upon William Shelton and Christina Hensley. What happened after the trial? The following updates came from the Tennessee Bar Association. We would like to thank Russell Fowler for his diligence in finding out what happened in this case after the Supreme Court ruling. Troxdale, Upton, and Stevens were granted a new trial. While there were no further trial updates, we can either surmise that faced with overwhelming circumstantial evidence or the fact that the community was not about to let this go, the three could have pled guilty and got shorter sentences, which was the norm back then. In several of our feud cases, we have seen that people who want to avoid the gallows would plead guilty to receive shorter sentences. Think of it sort of like a plea deal today. According to Fowler and Putnam County historian Dale Welch, Patsy was jailed for a time and her services as a household laborer were rented out by authorities. According to an eyewitness who claimed to be at the bedside of Troxdale when she died, he stated the following, quote, "This man was at Patsy Troxdale's deathbed. Patsy rolled back and forth saying, quote, I have to tell, I have to tell, unquote. She said she murdered her parents and 5 siblings with the help of the boys, William Upton and Nicholas Stevens, her paramours. She also confessed to another murder. She said she once happened upon a small boy in the woods with a bag of valuable ginseng he had dug. She killed the boy, took his ginseng, and fed his body to the hogs, unquote. There is another update on Upton, that he apparently died during the Civil War, fighting on the side of the Confederacy. Tennessee Supreme Court Judge William B. Turley resigned his position in 1850 and served on the trial bench in Memphis. A year later, in Raleigh, Tennessee, while talking to a friend as they were exiting a hotel, Turley fell as his walking stick snapped into 2 pieces. The jagged piece ran through his chest next to his heart as he fell. 5 days later, Turley would die on May 27, 1851, from the injury. As this case is ending today, we have to ask the question, who really killed the O'Neill family and why? While the questions we have will not be answered, as the evidence has long disappeared, we still have to wonder, did Patsy kill her family, and why? What did she hope to gain from the murders, and did she ever find peace in the end? Thank you. Kentucky Tennessee Living would like to thank you for watching our video series on the myths and legends of the Appalachian Mountains. Don't forget to hit that like button, as the more likes we receive, the more likely YouTube is to suggest our videos to other viewers. Also, to receive notice when we upload a new video, be sure to subscribe and click the bell notification button. Please be sure to double check that you are subscribed, as some of our viewers are finding that they are no longer subscribed to our channel. We thank you for continuing to support Kentucky Tennessee Living as we are discovering the mysteries in Appalachian history.